What's up, guys? Coming to you from college football Saturday. Just got done watching the best college team in Ohio. Yes, I did say that. David and Ryan, Ohio State, would crush Cincinnati. I mean, fantasy is always full of complaints. Like, oh, I should have played this guy, or I knew I had a bad matchup, but I just can't seem to sit this other guy. That's what makes fantasy fun, especially with you guys. You guys are setting your lineups each week, making this league competitive, which I really appreciate. We are 5 weeks away from the playoffs, and everyone still has a good chance of making the playoffs, which is really rare. All I'm going to say is you guys better watch out because I'm going to come on a tear and then destroy you guys when it comes to playoff time. With that, you guys have just me this week. I'm riding solo, so forgive me if it gets a little dry. All right, we obviously have to start with our highest scorer. Make that 2 highest scorers this week. It's no surprise that Ryan had the highest score this week. I think we say this every week, but he is the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing this year. On the season, he has a top 5 QB in Josh Allen, top 5 running backs in Najee and Jonathan Taylor, and Hunter Henry is the tight end 3 on the year so far. He's arguably the most consistent because he keeps getting the touchdown, and I honestly had no idea until I just looked that up. But Devin, on the other hand, has been having a rough season. He's been riddled by injury, always losing out on waiver picks, but this week was a crazy turnaround. Devin told me last week he didn't appreciate me calling out his first-round pick, Patrick Mahomes, but he showed me this week by putting up nearly 50 points while Devonta Smith had 20 and Ramondre Stevenson had the best game this year by a Patriots running back. But unfortunately, Devin could not overcome Ryan, who won 132 to 123, and with that, Devin gets the short end of the stick award. Sometimes wins are based solely on the matchup you have, and Devin played the wrong person this week in Ryan. Ryan stays tied for first at 7-3, while Devin moves to 3-7. But maybe that was the turnaround your team needed, Devin. Up next, we have me versus Andrew, and I'm pretty biased on this, but I'm pretty mad. I think I got screwed by Coach Sean McVay. Started the wide receiver 1 on the week. Debo and Ezekiel Elliott also did well in the blowout. But Andrew having 2 studs from Kansas City, Tyreek and Darrell Williams combining for 50 points was too much to overcome, even though his tight end TJ Hawkinson gave him a big fat 0 at the tight end position. I'm sure you guys have heard enough of me whining, so I'll just say Andrew won 99.5 to 97.9. Stays tied for first at 7-3, while I'll become just 5-5, just sneaking out of the playoffs, even though I have the 3rd most points scored in the league. It's just straight up robbery. 2 weeks in a row that the team Ethan has played has not done so well. Ethan was looking to upset Alex and the Robert Kraft's massage parlor this week, but some things just don't change. By that I mean Ethan is still the lowest scoring player of the week. I told you guys in the group chat that Ethan almost broke his own record of having the lowest score of all time in the league, but thankfully the San Francisco D did their thing against the Rams. Notably, Ethan played Russell Wilson as his QB. Probably did that a little bit too early coming off the injury because he only put up 5 points. But on the bright side, new pickup for him, Jacoby Myers scored his first touchdown ever in the NFL, while Keenan Allen is showing everyone he's the wide receiver 1 instead of Mike Williams at the Chargers. Alex, on the other hand, did pretty bad as well. Also, he was second. He had the 2nd lowest score of the week, like I mentioned before, and he would have lost to any other manager this week. So for the 2nd week in a row, there is a lucky son of a gun award, and Alex, it has your name on it. Mark Andrews and DeAndre Swift both had 15 points. They were the mainstay on your team, while Tom Brady did not have a bad fantasy day with 17 points, but he did lose to Washington, so that's pretty bad. Alex won 96 to 70. He moves to 6-4, while Ethan stays in last at the moment, being 2-8. Dan is 2-8 too, but you have less points scored, Ethan, so you're in last so far. Guys, Keegan Kuhn has finally overcome the QB curse on his team. In his game with Dan Saul, he had Derek Carr, who put up 22 points. Okay, not the greatest performance, but definitely way better than his QBs have been. Keegan also had yet another great performance from Cooper Kupp. Even though no touchdowns were scored for him, he had 17 points. Kupp, honestly, might be the best overall draft pick this year since he was a 5th rounder. He was up against Dan Saul, who was finally happy to see his first-round pick, Travis Kelce, deliver with the most tight end points this week at 15. Mark Ingram had 18 on his team, while James Robinson had 16. And Jamal Agnew, a wide receiver, scored 14, even though he had 0 catches. Weird flex, but okay. With these performances, Dan was able to pull out the win, 120-104. Dan is just outside the playoffs as of now, being at 5-5, while Keeg is the third team out at 4-6. Both teams still can possibly make it, but it'll take a few big wins and losses from teams already in. Am I reading this correctly? It looks like 4 losses in a row for Austin Reedy. I might be jinxing the man, but his undefeated streak, was it a fluke? Reedy played Dave this week, and boy did Reedy lose a lot. Both of his starting running backs, Aaron Jones and Cordero Patterson, got hurt. Will not play week 11. That's a big blow. Despite these losses, his trade target of CeeDee Lamb had a massive 25 points. Justin Jefferson balled out as well with 18. David had his week starting horribly on the Thursday night football game. Mike Gesicki, his best pickup so far, only put up 0 points against the Dolphins. He had 7 targets. That's pretty horrible. Antonio Gibson, who we got from Reedy, scored a team-high 20 points, while Dallas's D put up 22 in a near shutout against the Falcons. Fun fact, if Reedy would have played Dak instead of Matt Stafford, he would have won the game. But instead, Dave wins 118-110. Dave's going to be 7-3, tied for first, while Reedy becomes 6-4, still in the playoff picture, but a loss could take him out. My last matchup is going to be Chad and Dan Monin, both teams that have been doing way better than their start and still are trying to mark their spot into the playoffs. The Cam Newton and CMC connection is back for the Panthers, and that means Dan Monin with Christian McCaffrey is going to be a happy man. He was his highest scoring player this week with 21, and it is something he hopes to keep seeing. But Dearness Johnson also took advantage of Nick Chubb being out, earned himself 19 points on Dan's roster, and Dan also wins the What Were You Thinking award. Dan had 4 running backs in his lineup, but the highest scoring running back, I think this week, was A.J. Dillon, and he was sitting on the bench. If he was played instead of Javonte Williams or Devin Singletary, he would have won the matchup. Dan, what were you thinking? And also, Chad finally had the emergence of Stephon Diggs the past few weeks, and he delivered once again as the wide receiver 2 on the week. Newly acquired Dalvin Cook from Reedy also did as expected and scored nearly 20 points. And although the Ravens had an ugly loss on Thursday, Lamar had 17 points, which pushed Chad to win the matchup 115-102. Chad becomes 6-4 in the playoff picture as of now, while Dan Monin stays 2-8, making it tougher for him to actually earn a spot, but he can keep hoping since CMC is back. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Next week, we're going to have a different host. It's going to be me and Andrew Burr. So next week, let him know how Andrew does when he does it. And you know what? Let's have a good week of football. Let's keep going. Peace.